then we got surrounded by development. Like developers bought up everything, literally everything around us, and started building. So the dust and the noise and the traffic, and it just became unbearable. I'm okay with it being how it is because our food basically becomes free with the prices of things. That's saying a lot now. And not only is it free, but it's clean. These are chickens from Joel Saladin's farm.
You bought them from Joel?
Hatched them from his eggs.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
He calls them survivors, so that's kind of what we want. Look at what people are doing and you say, all right, I think that could work for our case, because not everything is going to work. Not everything he does is going to be good for everybody else. You got to wear so many hats. You got to be a weatherman, you got to be a veterinarian, you've got to be an accountant. 20 acres, we could make use of that. We would have been fine with like 5, but so anyways, we bought 20. Just in the process of having that land, we're like, well, now we have this land, we got to put something on it, right? You know, when you see their proposed plans and you see like, oh, they're going to put townhomes like right up on our property line, look, like we don't want to look at that. No, it's just easier to get out.
Yeah. You just got started in pigs.
Last year.
Just last year.
Yeah, so this is our first litter.
Okay. How does that feel? Was that like exciting, nervous?
Oh man, you know, we missed the farrowing. We built this in here to bring her in, and we didn't know what to expect, right? So we're like, all right, you know, her teats are forming. Is it time to put her inside? I'm asking everybody. They're like, oh no, she's got a couple of weeks to go, right? So then we're out there feeding them, and she doesn't come for breakfast, and we're like, oh, what's going on? She's building a nest. We're like, okay, well, we better get her back in here. So we finish up the chores, we go back out, and there's a piglet on the ground.
Oh, no!
And you can't move them once they start.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, I was out there in the rain, like laying there, delivering piglets, bringing them in here under the heat lamp, you know, after they came out, and then bringing them out every hour to nurse on her, and then, yeah, that was a long night. So.
And that was your first experience with piglets?
Yeah.
Are you gonna do more?
We'll put her in here early.
That's funny. Yeah. I feel like your first on your own birth experience has to be slightly traumatizing in some way, shape, or form, so that you know that you want to keep doing it.
We watched a million videos, so I, you know, knew what to expect in general.
Do you come from a farming background?
No.
What's your background?
I was a suburbanite, like latchkey kid.
Okay.
You know? So we each had our garden when we were kids. Mom set out this area where we grew our own stuff, and you know, here's some seeds, and here's how you do it, and go have fun.
Okay.
So, I mean, that stuck with me. And then the animals thing, I mean, I guess me and my wife were into clean eating and good food, and you know, it's harder and harder to find, and it's getting more and more expensive. So we were like, all right, we need to get some chickens, and then we got some cows, and then we got the pigs. And
so you already had the farm before you decided to
we
put
had
animals
another
on it?
place, a little smaller place, about 2 hours from here. Yeah, we had everything there, but then we got surrounded by development. Like developers bought up everything, literally everything around us, and started building. So the dust and the noise and the traffic, and it just became unbearable. And we looked at their plans, and we're like, they're going to be doing this for 5 years.
And then you've got suburbia up around you.
And then you have, you know, stupid teenagers jumping your fences. So we were like, it's time to get out.
Yeah.
So for what we sold that for, I mean, we got this place out here.
Okay.
And we got triple the land area.
So it kind of worked out then that you were able to sell it for a little bit more and get this place. So how long have you been here then?
We moved here in July. Started moving.
Year.
We're still not done. I mean, you see the truck out there with all the stuff in it. It's so much stuff to move.
So you just started on this place. How many acres did you have on the other one?
20.
20 acres, and you added 50 acres. Wow. Does that feel like overwhelming or just pure excitement?
No, it's awesome. Yeah, there we just had grass. Here we have a little bit of everything. We got forest, we got a creek, we got ponds, we have all that stuff.
So much room to play and explore. Do you have kids?
No, these are our kids.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you just get to go exploring in nature, and wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
That would get me excited. I love exploring, as you can see with, you know, our YouTube channel and our lifestyle, but being able to add 50 acres, that's a lot. We'll leave your mama and babies alone. I think they're probably getting ready for a nap.
Yeah, that's what they do best.
What do we have next? So you mentioned that you guys are into clean eating and
Yeah.
that's why you kind of started getting livestock. Do you sell any of your?
We do, yeah. So what we do is it's a homestead, right? So
Right.
you grow your own, and then whatever surplus you have, you sell that to kind of pay for everything else. And
Where do you sell that at?
just through word of mouth, through Facebook Marketplace.
You don't go to farmers markets or anything?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out the local farmers market scene here.
Because you moved from
Right.
2 hours away.
Yeah,
So.
we did have a decent customer base there. Still, once in a while when we go down there, we take a carload of eggs and whatever else people want, and we deliver it to them.
What is this thing?
That's their house.
Is that a military wagon?
It's a military trailer chassis. So our first chicken coop was just a rickety piece of junk, and
Okay.
it was one of those kit build things. And
What-
it blew
what do you mean
over.
a kit built?
You buy it, it's like flat pack, and you put it together.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks nice, but it's not very sturdy. And it blew over like I don't know how many times in storms.
Oh man.
So it was all falling apart. I had like tacked it all back together and reinforced it, and I was tired of it blowing over, so I picked it up and I put it on one of these things and bolted it down, and there it stood, never blew over again. And I'm like, you know what?
You go from like rickety to
Rickety
military
to
grade.
bulletproof, like, to build new ones, I was like, you know what, I'm not taking any chances here with the hurricanes and the storm. They're
What
easy
a
to
great
move,
idea.
when they've overgrazed an area, you just roll it to somewhere new and put up the fence and they're good to go.
Yeah. What a great idea. Where do you get something like that?
Government auction. Sometimes you just find people with these in their backyards and they're like, yeah, get them out of here.
Facebook Marketplace or something?
But they're cheap, yeah.
Very cool.
And they're easy to build on. It's just like, you get universal measurements and put a 4x8 box on it, you're good to go.
Yeah. So this is some of your chickens.
Yeah, these are Bielefelders. We've got a couple different groups, to experiment with breeding and whatever.
Okay, so are you hatching your own?
Yeah, we hatch our own.
Do you let the hens hatch or do you have an incubator?
We have incubators.
Very cool.
They go broody once in a while, but we never really had any of them stick to it the whole time.
Yeah.
So they'll be on it and they'll leave, or
Those domesticated genes kicking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trouble ones are the ones that they see 3 eggs, they go broody, and you can't break them of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's just easier to do an incubator.
Yeah.
Better results.
Do you sell fertilized eggs or you just keep the chicks for yourself? Or?
They're all fertilized technically.
Yeah, because you have roosters
So,
with all
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, we've sold some hatching eggs to people. But yeah, these guys are general purpose. So they're eggs and meat. They don't get as big as, say, like the Freedom Rangers, him up there.
Oh, yeah.
He's huge, he's 10 pounds.
Ooh, that is a big rooster. My goodness.
But yeah, we've got 2 breeding groups of Freedom Rangers, and we hatch them ourselves. And that's a hybrid bird, so you're not necessarily going to get 100% Freedom Ranger out of them. But
Right.
we've gotten one kind of weird offshoot that was white,
Oh.
and all the others, they came out fine. And the yield on them was still good.
So your main purpose, you said you sell the extras, but your main purpose is for yourself.
Yeah.
And
we
so
stock our
you're not
freezers
really
and-
worried about the commercial breeds, like the Cornish cross and.
No, I don't. They're kind of, they creep me out, frankly.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
They just don't act like chickens.
Yeah.
They lay around and they eat, and they don't ever even fully feather. And no, it's just
Yeah.
these guys, they do chicken things.
Yeah.
They live like
Scratch
real
and
chickens,
peck
and they
hang
yeah,
out.
they're big and they're meaty, but they do normal chicken stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cornish cross now.
You didn't grow up farming,
No,
and how long have you been farming completely? Like, when did you get your first chickens?
a few years ago.
Okay, so you've only been doing it for a few years.
Yeah.
Where did you learn this information? What happened? What made it really click for you that you wanted to do this yourself?
Books and YouTube and that kind of stuff.
And just one thing after another, and you finally were like, let's do it ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah. Once you learn enough, you're like, okay, I feel confident that I could do this. And
Yeah.
yeah. So we raised the broilers in these chicken tractors.
Siskovich tractors?
Yeah.
Nice. At least this one is. Is that a modified Siskovich?
Yeah, I've made a bunch
Just
of
your
different.
own little version?
Yeah, you learn what works and what doesn't. And,
Right.
I put a video actually up on YouTube of all the mods that we do to these. This is the first one I ever built right here, and this is the eventual evolution of it.
Looks good.
So yeah, it's just a little, I mean, his design is really good. Just a couple of little things that, you know, we put on there that make them a little better.
Like what?
These skids on the front.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you bevel that,
angles, yeah.
makes a huge difference in terms of like ease of dragging it.
Yeah.
Because when it's flat, it kind of digs in, you know.
It does.
And, let's see, I changed the height of the door a little bit.
Oh yeah, that one is taller, isn't it?
Because, you know, it's got to clear the grass and all the stuff in the front of it.
Right.
We added those bell waterers, did a round top.
You have your tractors numbered.
Yeah.
Why?
Just so I can communicate, like if there's some issue with something, keep track of it. Say, hey, you know, we haven't dealt with the whatever water problem in number 3, yada yada.
Are you a one-man show? You said your wife's not here, but are you on the farm full time or?
Yeah, I mean, I have a day job and I do my thing, but so I work from home, so I'm usually the one that deals with all the creatures.
Gotcha. What do you do then for your day job?
I do kind of book writing, I do art management for people, that kind of stuff.
Very cool. So are you an author then? Or?
Yeah, I've written a couple books. You can find them on Amazon.
Ooh, we will put those links in the description here.
They're not farm related, but
that's okay.
Okay.
That is perfectly fine. That's awesome. As an aspiring writer myself, I admire that.
The most important thing is not the content, but sticking to it and getting it written.
Oh, especially with 2 small kids. I go through phases, you know?
Yeah.
So you've got kind of a wide range of chickens around here.
Yeah.
And they all have their own little purpose.
Yep.
So you've got your Freedom Ranger here.
Yep, this is him, and in order to kind of mix up the genes a little, he's getting all new girlfriends, and they're in one of those tractors there. And then we've got a young rooster with a couple more hens to go in with these here.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he's got a little beat up the other day. He's just a gentle giant. Come here, bud. Oh yeah, you're a good boy. Yeah, he's made a lot of babies that we've eaten. He's
a good-looking rooster.
Yeah,
I love their tail colors. So
yeah, he's a good boy. He just wants to be picked up and carried around all day. if he could, he would.
You definitely want to make babies out of a rooster like that. You get that aggression out of there. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's not aggressive at all. He's really nice. Like you sit there, he'll come up and like, you know, he wants hugs.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
So you mostly have chickens. You've got a few pigs. I see some cows over there.
Yeah, those are the new heifers. We just got them from another breeder in Georgia. So we've got 20 head now.
Wow, of heifers or of cows?
Dexter cattle.
Dexter cattle, but is that breeding stock or just feeding stock?
They're for breeding. So these are all girls, and we wanted to expand the herd at our own pace, but all we got was boys.
Oh no, yeah. I hate it when that happens.
Which is fine for meat, but you know, we've got all this room.
Yeah.
And the one thing we got outstripped the most of was beef. You know, we couldn't supply enough people with it.
Why Dexter?
So, they're so easy to handle. Sometimes they're too smart for their own good, but they're easy to train. These ones are still a little skittish.
Yeah, you said you just got these.
Yeah. They're small enough that, you know, you can handle them.
How old are these guys?
These ones are probably about, the smaller ones are 8 months old, I think, and the bigger ones are 10.
Okay, yeah, they are really small.
Yeah, they're still young. So we wait to 2 years to breed them.
Okay, when did you get cattle for the first time?
Did we get cattle before we had chickens? I don't know, maybe we got them around the same time.
Okay.
We started with 2. We got them, you know, full grown, old.
Uh-huh.
One of them we still have out there. We're gonna try to get 1 or 2 more babies out of her before it's retirement time for her. And then we just really liked them. And we're like, well, we need to get more. Let's, you know.
Yeah.
So we got some more babies. We got a bull.
Have you been able to butcher any yet?
Oh yeah.
What's their meat yield like?
Depends on, so like the younger, more full ones, you get 300 and something pounds worth of meat out of, and the older ones tended to be a little scrawnier, but more flavorful and leaner.
And you prefer the leaner ones?
I don't know. I'll take either one.
Okay.
They're pretty good.
They're good either way.
Yeah, but yeah, full size carcass you'll get, you know, between 300 and 400 pounds typically.
Are you moving these guys every single day, or?
No, these, this is a pretty big field, and they're small and they don't eat much yet.
Right.
So you can see the grass is getting a little scraggly out here.
Yeah. Is that your intention though? Like what, I guess maybe I should reframe my question. What is your management practice with your cattle?
Well, we let them kind of open field graze until it gets low.
Okay.
Or until either they've depleted the good stuff that they like, because they're picky eaters, right?
Right.
At first, they'll go after the stuff they like the most, and then they'll eat all this stuff if we let them, even the stuff that's not like their first choice. But if it's getting to the point where the weeds are growing, then we go in and mow it, so it's less competition for the stuff to grow back, and then we move them along to another pasture. So we don't like, some people put a lot of effort into like fencing them off and moving them every day, but
that's not exactly your practice.
No, we've got a few. I mean, I would say the average size of each of these paddocks is about 10 acres.
Okay.
And we just let them in, and once they're done eating it, we move them along.
Yeah.
And, this time of the winter, nothing's growing back yet, so
right.
We'll let them munch all this down, and then we'll give them hay. And then once it starts growing again, then if it gets ahead of us, we cut it and hay it.
Right, especially because you have so much acreage, you probably are kind of anticipating having to get some hay off.
Yeah, I'm still figuring out like what the carry rate is per acre out here in the different fields, because we've only had this property for 6 months.
Right.
So.
And you bought it in the summertime though, so it's probably a good time to really see.
Winter is the most critical, because then the grass goes dormant.
Right.
And the kind of winter breed grass that you could seed for, it doesn't really go perennially. It's just kind of annually, you got to reseed it, and that's expensive. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make them like the most hands-off kind of
just let them do their thing
on the farm, and so far they are. Like, other than fence maintenance, they've broken some of this stuff.
Yeah.
You really just leave them alone, and they do what they got to do. These are chickens from Joel Salatin's farm.
You bought them from Joel?
Hatched them from his eggs.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
For genetics. We're going to mix these in with our egg flock. These are really kind of interesting, weird. They're like barred rocks, or...
These are my favorite breed of chicken.
But they have blue in them. You see how they got blue feathers? That's weird. And then they got some red too.
Yeah. They taste really good.
But these, you can see she got like this metallic blue. Anyways, I figured.
So you wanted Joel's genetics?
Yeah, he's got a bunch of chickens that he just kind of leaves out in nature to fend for themselves, and over generations and generations of that, he calls them survivors. So that's kind of what we want.
So do you want to kind of mimic what Joel's doing then, at least on these kind of chicken side?
You look at what people are doing and you say, all right, I think that could work for our case, because not everything is going to work. Not everything he does is going to be good for everybody else, and it's vice versa, right? So you learn and you pick good ideas that you think will work for you, and you try them.
Yeah. How do you feel about the idea that there's one way to do things? I think that people jump on the bandwagon.
There's no one way to do things, because every circumstance is different.
Yeah, sometimes I can feel the polarizing effects of the commercial side saying we have to do it this way, or the conventional commercial side saying we have to do it this way, and then the regenerative side saying, well, we have to do it this way. But there's just so many flexible differences in the middle.
It's like politics, It's good for one is not good for another. So.
Coming from someone who kind of is just now getting into this, are you just an open mind of it all, or are you trying to hone in on something specific?
No, I just I want to make sure it's profitable.
Okay.
Or, it doesn't even have to be profitable. We're not in it for profit. We're in it for ourselves, and so long as it can kind of sustain itself. And every hobby, you want to try to make it pay for itself, right?
Right.
So this is kind of that. If we can scale it up and make it profitable, maybe. I don't see that happening unless we really push for numbers. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with it being how it is, because our food basically becomes free.
Yeah.
And with the prices of things, that's saying a lot now. And not only is it free, but it's clean. Yeah. We know exactly what goes into it. There's no soy, no garbage. It's all, they're eating grass and bugs and doing chicken things, and they're happy.
Yeah.
And they taste absolutely great. The eggs are awesome.
Yeah. I just find it so interesting when people aren't from a farming background. They know that they want something different and they just do it themselves. I just find so much interest in your drive to keep going, because it's not a type of work that is in any other industry.
No.
And for it to not even be your job.
No, and
Like,
you
it's
have
like
to
taking
wear
a
a
shower.
lot of
Like,
hats
you
too.
have to do this. You
Yep.
have to do that. And it's not like you have a boss that's telling you what to do it and when and how.
No, if you
How
don't
do
do
you
your
manage
thing,
that?
if you don't do your thing, things die, right?
Right.
You got to live with the weight of that.
Have
you
you
know.
had to live with that weight?
I have not let anything die from my own neglect. We've had very good results with, keeping sick animals healthy and bringing them back to health and yada yada. I think we've only lost like a couple of sick chickens, and that's it. Yeah, in terms of that, I'm pleased with those results.
How else do you manage the fact that, like, you and your wife both have off-farm jobs, day-to-day jobs, and there's things on here like if it's broken and it needs fixed, how do you manage that stress?
Just stack up a to-do list.
Oh man, the never-ending farm to-do list.
Never-ending to-do list. There's always stuff broken somewhere. You just got to do triage and say, all right, well, nobody's going to die if this doesn't get fixed. Well, yeah, that's the priority, is keeping things alive. And then after you're keeping things alive, then you want them to, get fat and happy.
Right.
And after they're fat and happy, then you get to worry about yourself. Yeah, you have a bunch of different priorities, and you just got to keep all those in mind. And but you got to wear so many hats. You got to be a weatherman, you got to be a veterinarian, you've got to be an accountant.
Were you prepared for all of those hats that
Oh,
you
yeah,
had to wear
yeah.
before you bought them, or before you got into farming?
I've had a small business that I've run from home since 2000, so that's like 24 years. So that's nothing new to me, you know. I'm fine with doing my spreadsheets. I could tell you at any given time what any of these chickens has eaten, how much it's cost us to date. The meat birds, I've got like I could show you the spreadsheet, and I could show you the spreadsheet. You just put in the feed cost per pound, and like it'll tell you how many days left and all that. And so you know exactly how much your bird costs at the day of slaughter and how much it's eaten. So you can estimate for future stuff. And
so that makes you feel a little bit better about what you have.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't know what your cash flow in and out is for any of these things, like how do you know if it's worth doing? How do you know if you're just throwing, good after bad into it? And like, yeah, if you're not profit motivated, that's fine. But if it's also costing you an arm and a leg, you got to think about that, right?
Right. So we saw the sow and the babies in the barn. You've got your other pigs out here.
Yeah.
Why Cooney?
Once again, they're smaller and they're easy to handle.
Okay.
Our first pigs were terrifying.
What did you have?
So we had one that was a potbelly, and he was all right, but the other one was like half wild, and she would...
Half wild? How do you get a half wild pig?
Neighbor gave it to us for free for helping her out.
No.
She had to move, and she had a bunch of animals she was rehoming.
Oh,
She was like, hey, you want these pigs? And I'm like, well, they spend all day on our property anyway, so sure. But yeah, she would just like walk up and try to shoulder check you for no good reason, and she was delicious though.
Ate her real fast.
She was good. But yeah, this kind of ginger colored guy, he's our boar.
How old is he?
He is a little over a year. I think
Okay.
it was November of 23. No, November of 22.
Okay.
They were all born within a couple of weeks of each other.
Are these two
These
barrows
two
or are they boars?
They're barrows.
Okay.
So we got all four of them together with the idea that we keep the boar, keep the boar and the sow separate and have a companion for each one until they were old enough to, freeze a camp. And now that we've got the babies, we'll grow those out, and these guys, maybe in a few more months, they'll be ready to send away. But yeah, what we've got remaining before we can put the babies out here, we got to build them another one of these little lean-to shelters, and then
A little A-frame thing.
yep. And I got to fix that water tank, and then it's good to go.
Do they, like, being Cooney and they're a little less aggressive with things, do they, like, rub on that?
They do. They rub on it, but they haven't smashed them yet. They've pushed them around.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pretty good on this. Like, They haven't wrecked the fence too badly.
And these seems, I mean, for him being, what do you say, almost 2, a year and a half?
He's, yeah, probably getting close to a year and a half.
A year and a half. He's not very big, and even the coonies that I've seen are still like solid pound-sized pigs. Are these just from like a smaller gene line, or is he just like not fully grown yet?
I think he's probably not fully grown yet. You know, his girlfriend in the barn, she's just about as big as they're gonna get. Some of them tend to be longer than the others. These guys, I think they're growing slower because they mainly graze. I haven't been packing them full of feed.
Right.
They'll grow super fast if you pack them full of feed.
Right.
They graze. They graze all this green stuff down. This is where they were up to last week, and you can see it's kind of,
yeah.
it's not full of holes, but it has been eaten all down.
Right. So you're trying to put them in more of like the wooded areas.
Yeah. There's a lot of acorns and everything back in here that they get access to.
Yeah.
They eat all that. It's really good for them. It makes the meat taste good. So I'd prefer they have kind of more of that. I don't mind if they grow slow. It doesn't cost them it doesn't cost anything for them to eat all this stuff in here.
Because you're not feeding them grain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we feed them. They get maybe a pound of grain feed a day. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're not skin and bone.
Right.
So.
Right. No, they look healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not thin, but they're not
They're
overweight
not thin. They're not
either.
obese. I think we've got it tuned in just right.
Yeah. And you just got them, so you haven't butchered any of your own pigs yet.
No.
So that'll be an interesting
Well, we
experiment.
butchered the
fun to see.
previous pigs. But
Okay.
not
Oh,
these
well,
ones.
the ones that were a little wild and kind of bigger.
We were kind of glad to see her go.
I think, as harsh as it sounds, I think sometimes the ones that are crazy that you don't want anymore taste better.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the
'Cause
bad
then it's like-
attitude adds to the flavor.
Yeah, you're not just eating the pig, you're just like savoring the fact that you don't have to chase them through the field anymore.
Sweet taste of revenge.
So you've got 2 donkeys in here with your cows,
Yep,
I
two
see.
donkeys.
Why is
Yep.
that?
We didn't really have a specific purpose in mind. We saw that, you know, the Bureau of Land Management has these rescue operations that they do. Yeah, you can adopt animals from them, and it's cheap. But it's a weird process because they remain the government's property for a year after you adopt them, and then you have to apply for a title and all this other weird stuff.
That's interesting. Are they friendly?
Oh yeah, just a little bit timid, but they're
Okay.
friendly.
Well, they're walking towards us.
Hey boys.
I'm gonna walk on the other side of you since they don't know who I am.
So this guy,
wanna smell me?
he's fine with human
No,
contact,
that's okay.
but
You don't have to smell me.
the other one, he's not so into it.
So are you got them because they were cheap from the Bureau of Land Management?
The wife wanted them, and
Okay. Well, I've heard of them being
But
good protectors for
they
like
are.
when there's calves on the ground.
So also they keep the coyotes away.
Yeah.
You know, after we got them, we didn't have any coyotes on our property.
Ow, buddy.
Yeah, they don't like small creatures.
Mm-hmm.
They chased after our dog like with a.
Oh no.
So you got to be careful about that kind of stuff. They're good. They're gentle.
And it's kind of nice to have like a protective animal on the farm before there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like it's nice to have it on there. I met with a guy who has livestock guardian dogs, and he said that he'll have people that come out and say, "Oh well, I don't want to invest in the protection," and then they realize that
It's costing them money.
it's costing them money
animals
because
are getting eaten. and- yeah.
exactly. So the investment in the animal to protect your assets or losing your assets kind of works itself out.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
We had a suburban house with some. I mean, it wasn't huge property.
Right.
But, I think my main motivation to get out of there and get some land was I wanted a space where I could fly. Like, you know, I do paragliding. So we were looking for property. We found some down in Wildwood, and my wife's parents had retired to the Villages, so that wasn't too far away. And we were just driving around and saw this place, like, oh, hey, 20 acres. We could make use of that. We would have been fine with like 5, but so anyways, we bought 20. Just in the process of having that land, we're like, well, now we have this land, we got to put something on it, right?
Right. Let's not let it go to waste.
Let's get the cows and the chickens and all that. Yeah, it just kind of snowballed.
And then
really.
suburbia grew up around you.
And then we were there for a couple of years. Yeah, suburbia grew up around us, and Well, it wasn't. They're still tearing it up. Really, they just put in the roads, but yeah, it's nonstop bulldozers
Yeah.
and
Ready?
the beeping and the dust and that kind of stuff. 6 days a week, you know.
Yeah.
Second the sun starts coming up, those machines are running, and
Oh yeah, that's not fun.
then when they start burning those big piles, all the trees they knocked over,
Yeah.
it's terrible to see. It used to be just fields of cows, and now it's all going to be McMansions.
And you're like, this is not why I left the suburbs.
And then you know when you see their proposed plans, and you see like, oh, hey, they're going to put townhomes like right up on our property line. Look, like we don't want to look at that.
Right.
So at first we were like, well, let's put a huge like pig moat along the thing and just make it really unpleasant for them, and we'll slaughter our chickens while they're looking out the window. And like, no, that's just easier to get the hell out.
Yeah. So with this place though, I mean, you're right off the highway, but it goes really far back then.
Yeah, so this is a main road through, and honestly, I don't even hear the traffic noise in the house.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's not even that loud. I mean, we're standing out here and it's not that loud.
And at night, nobody's driving out here, so it's still nice and quiet.
And it's pretty, I don't want to say it's remote around here, but it's not city busy.
No, it's 15 minutes to either Live Oak or Lake City.
Right.
Like right between them.
Right. It's nice out here. So these are your
So
cows.
these are more cows, and then we got more over there.
Okay.
And they could probably all go together at this point.
Why do you have them separated?
For breeding. Hey, baby. So we have 2 bulls, one little guy over there, and then this guy here. And so, you know, to expand the herd, you
How
do
old
line
is that bull?
breeding. Him?
Yeah.
He's probably about 3.
They aren't very big.
No, yeah, he's about as big as they get. Yeah, this one here, she's about as big as they get too. She's really old. She's probably 14 at this point. And she's looking kind of skinny, but
I think your donkeys are separating us. I don't want to walk around your back end, buddy.
But yeah, they don't get very big. And the thing is, they're really good natured. Like I could go in and, you know, he's good. He's a good boy.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Dexter up close, but they are small. I bet that is nice to handle if you're not used to having cattle, you're not used to big animals.
Yeah, you know, they're not aggressive. Like the guy who had this property before, he had Angus on here, and they're like, I mean, they'll get 3 times the weight of a Dexter. They're huge, and they're intimidating, and they know it.
They can be, yeah.
If you want to push one somewhere and get it out of your way or direct it to somewhere, if it doesn't want to go, it's not going, right? These guys, you could just shove them around if you have to, and like, yeah, they're strong, but you know, they're manageable.
Right.
You know, in terms of like getting a halter on them or whatever, it's so much easier because you could just, you know.
Right, just grab them if you need to.
You could get them in a headlock if you have to.
Right, right.
I mean, him, yeah, he could probably throw you around pretty good. Any of these things that could kill you
Yeah, I
if
mean,
they
they're
wanted, right?
livestock. They're still bigger than you.
Yeah, but they're still manageable.
Right.
And I don't know if their attitude comes with their smaller size or if it's just part of the way they are.
Right.
But they're pleasant cows. You know?
Yeah. So you enjoy it out here.
Yeah. I mean, cows.
That's awesome. Coming from a guy, like you said, like a latchkey kid, and you're just out here calm, out in nature, doing your own thing. Do your parents come out and visit? What do they think about it?
My mom's coming in February to visit. Yeah, she loves it. She's kind of like a nature hippie.
Yeah. So that's probably where you get it. The stroll
probably
started somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, where we grew up, it was a dead-end street, and it was surrounded by cornfields. And as that developed, now it's all paved over. It's Bass Pro Shops and IKEA, and there's nothing left. I just like we used to get on our bikes and go out into nature and ride around and, you know, catch frogs and snakes and just be out in dirt and nature.
And now
I
you
like
get to do that every day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, some people think it's a chore. I don't think it's a chore, really. Like,
I think that mindset kind of comes with a lot of farming, I don't know, just maybe like frame of minds that there's a chore that needs done. And
Yeah.
I think I'm personally starting to see this line created where
like
if
is
you're
it a
focusing
job or is it?
Yeah, if you're focusing on like a business, are you going to get burnt out? Are you going to start dreading the work that needs done?
Maybe.
Or is it just part of your lifestyle
Yeah,
like brushing your
point,
teeth.
At this point, it's part of the lifestyle. Like, you know, if you don't love doing it, it becomes work, right? If you
Right.
love doing it, then it's not a chore, it's not work. It's, you know, it's a hobby, and you do hobbies to enjoy them, right?
Right.
As we scale things, if we scale things, like we don't have to make it bigger, but like, I mean, with all this area, I think we're about maxed out with chickens. Chickens are kind of high maintenance, and I don't like killing them.
Yeah.
So
that's actually a good question. Do you process everything yourself?
we do the chickens ourselves,
Okay.
and I'll probably do the pigs ourselves at
Okay.
some point. But yeah, the cattle, oh, that was another reason to get the Dexters. Like if we had to do them here, we can. You know, you can, if we had to slaughter one of these, I could pick it up with the tractor, and they're not so big that they're unmanageable.
Right. That's a good point.
You can't do that with an Angus.
Or it's a lot harder to do that with an Angus.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, this is our other bull. He's still a little guy.
Hello. You trying to taste me? You guys are friendly.
Yep.
I love the smells.
He just wants his head scratched. Oh, let me show you the pond.
The what?
The pond,
Oh,
well, one
yeah.
of them. So this guy that we bought from, he had the water department, I guess I don't know which specific one, but he had them come out here and tell him where the best places were to dig to put ponds in. And basically they said, all right, well, you dig here, you'll hit a spring, you dig here, you'll hit a spring. And so he did, and sure enough, there's like 3 spring-fed ponds here. That's kind of cool to have.
Do you stock them or do they have fish in them?
There's fish in them and turtles. I don't know if they came from nature or if they came from something else. But yeah, going back to your previous question about, you know, live versus work. You work to live, or do you live to work? You got to find a balance. Because if you don't, you're going to be unhappy either way, right?
Yeah.
You'll either end up with, you know, something you love to do that you can't afford to do, or something you hate to do that makes you a lot of money. From what I understand, you guys went full bore into trying to make a profitable business out of it, like before you knew what you were in for. I don't know if I'm accurate in that assessment, but
We knew what we were in for.
okay.
And before kids, we were golden. It was fine.
Gotcha.
We had a great routine. Kids came into the question and things just, our goals were no longer the same. We found that we wanted to spend more time with our kids. We wanted to spend more time exploring. We wanted to travel, and we loved the farm, and it was very profitable. But like we said in our video, if we would have started out as a homestead, we probably never would have left.
Yeah.
But we started out with it needing to make us money, and that's where we kind of fell from it, I
My
think.
approach is just doing it organically. Expand as you can, as you find time, as you find money,
Right.
and, you know, try to make it pay for itself. Don't be so profit driven. I think our most profitable part of this is our day jobs. You know, it still is, probably will be for a while.
Right.
But, you know, that money we save from our food, it goes into whatever else we need it to go into.
In your health.
And our health.
I think that's a big thing too.
My mental health. I mean, like,
Who needs a therapy bill?
yeah.
Who needs a prescription?
You're pissed off, you go out and you just hang out with the cows for half an hour, and, you know, you're feeling pretty good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
worth it.
So this is one of your ponds.
So yeah, this is one of the ponds. There's a little creek that runs back here that's actually lower in the water table. There's all kinds of weird, this whole river valley, it's got this like weird limestone stuff underneath it with all kinds of caves and underground rivers. And yeah, you'll go anywhere after it rains, you can go out here and you can see water like running up out of the ground where it's coming up out of something.
Wow.
It's kind of a weird, unique
That's
place.
pretty cool. It's like it's always changing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How deep is this? Because it
I
looks clear,
don't
but
know.
then it really looks deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of minerals that come up out of this one. The other ones are clearer and darker, but this one's got this weird turquoise.
Because you
Kinda
don't,
color to it.
there's no dyes in here.
No.
So it's just naturally this
Yeah,
color.
he dug this out with an excavator. I piled it up in a ring around it, and I mean, that's just,
Wow.
there it is. And then the level comes and goes. Like,
Okay.
it's not always full or overflowing, but Yeah, with all the rain we've got, it's filled up pretty
Do
good.
your cows drink out of it? Do your cows come in here and
they
drink out
go
of it?
wade and they drink and they do everything in here.
So do you have supplemental water for them, or they just drink out of the ponds?
Yeah.
You do?
So
Okay.
there's, along this fence line runs all the way back to the barn. There's water troughs in every pasture.
Okay, gotcha. With like the remote work and what happened with COVID and everything, and Joel's got that book out, Homestead Tsunami. Do you still feel the homestead movement pushing forward?
Yeah.
Or do you see some kind of variability with it?
Well, not everybody is going to try it is going to stick with it, and not everybody that tries is going to succeed. So I don't know.
Why is that? Why do you think that people who try it, they either aren't succeeding or they aren't staying with it?
They don't have to. Everybody's got different priorities, right? And everybody's circumstances change, and who knows if I'm going to still be doing this. I would like to, but I can't see the future, so who knows if I may burn out or something may happen, or whatever.
You can always change. Life
is unpredictable, and it can always change.
I like that you recognize that, especially since we were talking about our story a little bit, my personal story, because that's what happened with us. It's just our goals just kind of changed, and that's okay.
It's fine.
Like I think that some people look at us and they're like, why would you quit farming? People don't quit farming, and I'm like,
Sure
it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working for us anymore. I'm not saying we will never farm again. I know that we will put roots down again someday, and that we will have a farm. But I think saying that out loud, that it's okay to change, and even outside of the farming world, if you're a nurse and you no longer want to be a nurse, maybe you want to be in land management. Maybe you want to.
There's other ways to do it
be
too.
a hairdresser. It can always change.
Yeah, last year I broke my arm and I couldn't do anything for a few months, right?
Oh, no.
So, I had to get help to do it, and it just changed the way things worked. You just got to be able to adapt. And it's an ever-changing thing out here. It's like this is all one big living thing, right? And you just got to figure out how to handle it. I'm not getting any younger. Who knows what's going to happen down the road. But I still like doing it. I'm still going to keep doing it. And I'm not going to let it get to a point where I can't handle it, right? You just gotta keep it moving, gotta keep it changing. And there's no one size fits all for everybody.
Right.
The only way to learn what you can and can't deal with is just to do it.
Yeah, people can't tell. That's a really good point. People can't tell you how it's going to work out for you. You just have to try it and see if you like it, or if you don't, or if you need to do it a little differently.
Start with 6 chickens, chicken math,
Yeah.
Start with 6, end up with 100.
I think pig math is the same with that too.
Yeah, probably. We'll see how that goes. You start with a couple of cows. You just got to see what you can do. And it's monitoring stuff and seeing results, and you'll eventually reach a maximum level of what you can deal with, either from the environment, how much can they eat, how fast will the grass grow, how much is the feed costing versus how much am I getting from egg sales and meat sales and all that. You got to keep track of that. Just got to try it and see.
Yeah. I love your just wing it attitude. You're like, yeah, I don't know. It just see.
I don't have any specific
formula. There is no equation.
I don't have any specific goal with this. I mean, I didn't get into it blindly. I got into it thinking, all right, the worst that could happen is I have to rehome the animals because I'm not taking good enough care of them, or I'm not feeding them enough, or whatever. You deal with that as it comes. Like our extra roosters, we just rehomed a couple of them, and take each thing a day at a time. It's just a never-ending string of to-do lists and little crises, and
Yeah, you just do it.
You just do it.
It's
not going to do itself.
There's you have this balanced level of gumption, bootstrap, do it, and I don't know, we'll see. Laid back, chill, it'll work itself out.
Well,
attitude. Do you think
it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out, right?
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
All right, you learn from failures and you move on, right?
Yeah.
It's like anything else.
It's not that serious.
No.
Nobody died.
No.
Everybody's okay.
Hopefully nobody died.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's healthy for the most part, hopefully.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see why anybody feels the need like I must succeed. I must be the next great whatever. No, if you do good, you're fine.
Do you see that in the homesteading, farmsteading world where everybody thinks that they have to be the next Joel Salatin, Justin Rhodes?
I don't know. And maybe I never will know. I've got a little crappy YouTube channel with a few videos on it, and I don't take it that seriously. Like, yeah, some people might like it, some people might not. It's not gonna make or break me, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of people probably go into it thinking that they're gonna be the next great thing, and then they get overwhelmed, and maybe they do good. I don't know. It's not something that's on my radar. Like, I don't need to be like a great oracle of farm wisdom.
I think that that's what makes you so inspiring, though. I do. I think that the people who have the less ego, the least amount of ego, are looked up to the most.
I don't know. I got no problem sharing my knowledge about stuff. I mean, that's why I've written those books. And if I can shamelessly plug, I've got another book with all those designs and stuff.
Ooh!
Probably done in the next month or so.
Okay.
With all the stuff I've built and.
We will add that too.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And your YouTube channel, it'll go in there too.
Sweet. I don't know. There's not enough room in my life for extra stress of trying to be great.
Do you have that same attitude for your entrepreneurial job and your writing? That you're just like, I'm just gonna do what I can, and that's that. Yeah. Is that just like a personality thing? I'm so intrigued. Where does this come from? Is this because have you ever had the grind drive before?
Oh yeah. I've had the grind drive before, and it got me nowhere.
What happened?
Well, you work hard. So I guess that comes from like doing art competitions in school early on, right?
Okay.
The piece you work the hardest on, that you're the most proud of, doesn't even get a mention, but the thing you just kind of like, squeezed out at the last minute, that gets like a blue ribbon. So as the same case with stuff in school, God, I had just a terrible experience in high school. I was supposed to graduate early, and then they miscalculated my credits and held me back for one class. I was on early release, like, go in for 3 classes, like my last year, supposed to just be there for 6 months, go in for 3 classes and spend the rest of the day like at a part-time job working and making money for college. And they're like, oh, well, we miscalculated his credits. You got to take this like stupid class where I'm like, can I test out? No, you just got to do it.
Like one of those dumb history classes.
So
that
you're
nobody
gonna
cares
mean
about.
I have to come here every day for one class? I can't start college early?
And that was before online classes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was pre-internet,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't make sense to grind and try to be like some superstar, because the piece of paper you get at the end of the day, same piece of paper everyone else gets, and they can't think their way out of a wet paper bag. So just do what you do, and your work will stand alone. Yeah. If people appreciate it, they'll find it, and if they don't, to hell with them.
And
right?
At least you did.
Yeah.
You appreciate the work that you do. Mm-hmm. And you're the one that wakes up and looks in the mirror every day. So isn't that the only one who matters?
Yeah. I mean, well, so in farming, yes, your results do affect other people. But if you're doing good, then they'll do good too, right?
Yeah.
I'm not out to impress anybody.
I love it. That was such a cool backstory, and it shows a lot from what you learned, especially early on, that what drive can do for someone.
Yeah, do or do not. There is no try.
I like it. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for letting me come out and get to know you and share your story a little bit. Every link that we talked about for your books, your YouTube channel, will be in the description. But it's just been so cool to come out and see you and learn some of your story and your perspective on things, and I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much.